2017 CF 15684, State v. Nelson, back from our recess. Ms. Burdick, stay ready to proceed? Yes. Mr. Lahr?
Yeah,
Mr. Nelson, you ready? Yes. Sir, you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's bring in the jury, please. Ms. Burdick, does the state acknowledge the jury?
Yes, Your
Mr. Lahr, defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Burdick, please continue.
Honor. Another question about the duct tape around the face before I continue to this other item of evidence. We had talked about the duct tape around the ankles being multi-layered. Was the same true of the pieces of duct tape around the face? Were those multi-layered as well?
If I am recalling correctly, I do believe they were.
All right. And the photographs that you took would show that, correct?
That is correct.
Now, before we broke, I asked if you had received an evidence item that was described as a knife.
Yes.
Right? Can you, do you recall or do your records reflect the date that you received that?
Let me review my records here with my chain of custody. Yes, I came in possession of the knife on January 12th of 2018.
And do your chain of custody documents indicate the condition in which it was received?
That would actually be in my personal notes of the actual item of evidence.
All right. Would it assist you in recalling the condition that the knife was received to look at your notes?
Yes, it would.
And by that, I mean what type of packaging, actually?
Oh, I'm sorry. I could actually look at my chain of custody for that.
I'm sorry, I should have made that clearer.
So the item of evidence was submitted as one paper-wrapped package that was said to contain the item of evidence.
All right. Now, showing you what has been marked as AC for identification.
Go ahead.
You could look at the item and tell me if that is
Ye-
the knife that you received in January, specifically January 12th of 2018.
Yes, this is the packaging of how it came to me. And inside would be a white box that actually contained the knife.
All right. Before we open that, when you received it, was the exterior brown packaging in a sealed condition?
Yes, it was.
Right. Was there anything about it that would suggest to you that it had been tampered with after it had been sealed?
No, there was no indication.
Did you open the brown paper packaging to get into the, looks like white box inside?
Yes, I did.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, I would seek to introduce State's AC for identification and evidence.
Your Honor, I would object, lack of foundation.
I'll overrule the objection. What's been marked for identification as State's AC is admitted in evidence as State's Exhibit 177.
Let's just keep the outer packaging with the white box. When you opened that item, did you photograph it?
Yes, I did.
All right, if I may approach with the witness with GG for identification.
Go ahead.
these photographs that you took of both sides of that knife?
Yes, they are.
And is the knife contained in the box?
Yes, it is.
All right, can you get that out, please, and show us? When you received it, was it in that open condition?
I'd have to refer to
I
my...
mean the knife. I'm
Oh.
sorry, the blade not folded into the handle.
That is correct.
Your Honor, at this point, I would seek to introduce GG for identification and evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
That objection has been marked for identification as GG, is admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 178.
Permission to publish?
Granted.
All right, is 178 your photograph of both sides of that knife?
Yes, it is.
What did you do with that item when you received it?
Upon receiving it, I started by screening it for the possible chemical indications of blood from the actual blade of the knife.
The results?
The results were actually, it was negative for the chemical indications of blood.
So did you continue?
Yes, I actually continued by swabbing the actual blade itself, and I also swabbed the handle for any sort of possible DNA that could be on there,
Separately or one swab of the whole?
separately for each location.
Now, did you see any indication on the knife that it was either weathered or rusted?
There were some indications on the actual blade that it had reddish-brown staining on it, and that's why I decided to start with the chemical test for blood. And then obtaining the negative result, I then just continued forward to just swab it and my chance to actually get a DNA profile from it.
All right. And did you put the swab of the blade through the DNA testing process?
Yes, I did.
And did you do the swab of the handle? Or did you put the swab of the handle through the DNA testing process?
Yes, I did.
Were you able to obtain results on either swab?
Yes, I was able to obtain DNA results for each swab individually.
All right. What were the results then for the blade?
The blade contained a complete DNA profile that matched Jennifer Fulford at greater than 100 billion times, greater than 700 billion times more likely that it came from her than from an unrelated individual.
And the handle?
The handle obtained a partial DNA profile. I'm referring to my laboratory report, March 27th, 2018. And with the partial DNA profile, it matched Jennifer Fulford at greater than 700 billion times more likely to occur that it came from her than from an unrelated individual.
All right. So although the results from the blade were partial, the reporting out of the statistical likelihood of that is at the reporting threshold of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement as well?
Yes, and it was actually the handle that was partial while the blade was complete.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. So do you have an opinion as to how it's possible to get DNA from that item even though it tested negative for blood?
So DNA, much like even the proteins in blood, can degrade over time due to exposure to the elements. But the proteins can degrade faster than DNA. The only thing that could actually, in my opinion, that could conclude to get the results that I did is that there was enough DNA there to start with that even though it's been exposed to the elements over time, that it still left enough DNA for me to get the results that I did.
I have no other questions of the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Now, you tested all of these items. Oh, here, let me get that.
Thank you. Yes.
Let me start again. Now, you've tested all of these items for DNA, right?
That is correct.
And you didn't actually recover any of these items.
That is correct. I didn't recover any of these items.
Now, you said a while back that you were very careful about contamination in your lab.
That is correct.
However, you have no idea whether the same procedures or the same care was taken when they were originally collected.
That's correct. Since I have no idea how they were collected, I'm just reporting the results that I get.
And DNA can actually be transferred from one item to another by a third source, right?
That is a possibility, yes.
Okay. Now, and of course, you can't really testify as to how this DNA was deposited on these items.
That's correct. I don't know when or how the DNA got deposited on these items.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you were using what they call STAR mix, STR mix.
Yes,
And that's is a computer program where you interpret the DNA mixtures, right?
yes.
However, it's a pretty new program, is it not?
The program itself is new, but the actual underlying mathematics behind it has been around for hundreds of years.
However, the program was developed by a company and was still going through the validation process pretty recently before you used it. Am I correct in that?
That is correct.
And there was a validation study. If I recall correctly, it was done in Tampa.
The actual validation study for StarMix was done for all of the regions, but it was specifically done at one location, but all of the samples that was used to validate it came from all of the regions.
But that was in Tampa. Am I correct in that?
I do believe that is correct.
And of course, the reason why they were doing the validation is they kind of want to know what the limitations of that kind of analysis is, right?
That is correct.
And in this case, you were actually not involved in that particular process. Am I correct in that?
That is correct.
Now, before you start to the process of giving the information to the computer, you have to first figure out how many possible contributors there are.
Yes, I visually have to look at it to determine how many contributors, and I also visually look to see if the person is included ever before getting any sort of likelihood ratio.
And at that point, the computer really couldn't help you analyze that aspect. That's something you had to do, right?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Okay. At the time you analyzed this, the computer program itself didn't help you determine how many contributors. That's something you had to kind of figure out.
Yes, I have to visually myself determine the number of contributors. The computer program itself does not work unless I tell it how many contributors to actually work with.
Okay. And that decision that you make is not based on statistics. It's what you believe the amount of contributors are.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And if that estimation about the amount of contributors is incorrect, then the results would be incorrect.
Yes, because we have some diagnostic tools that the program puts out that if we have a situation where it could be a wrong answer, we have diagnostics we can look at to determine if what we're looking at is intuitive or not.
Now, after this program crunches the numbers and it compares probabilities, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And a comparison of these probabilities expressed as a likelihood ratio.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, the way it works is the computer, I guess, goes through a thing called hypothesis, where if it reaches a certain number, then the hypothesis is that the state's hypothesis, in other words, that's the person, is the one that is chosen.
So the hypothesis that it does a hypothesis to say that the person is the donor, and then there's a defense hypothesis where the person is not the donor. And it compares the two of them to each other to then say how likely it is for one hypothesis over the other.
Okay. Now, on stain D on the shirt, the likelihood ratio at some of the locations was less than 1. I'm sorry, let me go back a minute because they're not going to understand what the 1 is. If it's greater than 1, then it favors the state hypothesis. If it's less than 1, it favors the defense.
That is correct.
Okay. So, and when we talk about loci, you hadn't used that term before, but that's typically your scientific term for at certain locations.
Yes, that is locations on the actual DNA.
Okay, so when you evaluated the shirt, there were a number of them that fell under 1. Am I correct?
I'd have to look in to verify that. May I? Now, who are we doing with the comparison? Is it Mr.
Shirt stained D as in David
for Mr. Nelson or Ms. Fulford?
for the Mr. Nelson.
Okay. Yes, I have it in front of me now.
Okay, so there are certain loci and they have certain names, do they not?
Yes, they do.
And at the CSF1PO, that was 0.0413. Am I correct?
4.33 e to the -2. So I believe that would be 0.0433, if I'm correct.
Okay, and that would be less than 1 then, at that location.
Yes, it would
That
be.
would favor the defense hypothesis, right?
That is correct.
At D21S11, that was at 0.360.
Which one again, please?
D21S11.
Yes, that one is 3.22 e to the -1.
And so that would be less than 1.
Yes,
That would favor the defense hypothesis.
that is correct.
That person. Okay, at D1851, that was 0.215.
That was 1.95 e to the -1. The numbers that you're referring to are with a different population. The one I'm reporting is the one that I actually reported with the,
Okay.
for the actual report.
There were at least a number of markers there that didn't match up with the state hypothesis that was the same person.
For those certain locations, yes, but again, the,
Okay, then that's,
No, I object to him not allowing him to complete the answer.
that would be non-responsive.
If there's a non-responsive objection, then make it, otherwise let the witness answer the question.
may I continue?
Well, okay, sir, go ahead.
So even though at certain locations it may be less than 1, there are other locations that are greater than 1. And the fact is that the profile and the number that we put out is a multiplication of all the locations together. So even though you may have some that are lower than 1, the ones that are greater than 1 will make the number bigger than the ones that are smaller than 1.
And all of those are probabilities, right?
Yes.
Now, your laboratory is periodically audited,
Yes, we are.
and has there been any audits in light of the last 2 years where there have been some issues regarding certain procedures not being followed?
We have had audits that, in the last couple of years, any issues that we have had come up in the audit have been resolved in order for us to continue our accreditation.
However, during those external audits, the corrective action procedures at FDLE, was that considered, it was considered inadequate at the time, was it not?
I do not know the indications of what was in the audit. We are periodically told what the concerns are, but for this specific one, I don't have any recollection of what you're referring to.
Okay, there's been no audit this year, right?
Yes, we just had an audit in May.
I might just have a second, Your Honor.
Sure.
Any further questions, Your Honor?
Redirect?
one clarification question regarding the cross-examination on the STR mix, having to go through some sort of verification, validation, excuse me. The STR mix is only for the complex mixtures of DNA, correct?
Objection leading.
That'll be sustained to the form.
What are the STR, what is the STR mix used for?
SCR mix is for us used to produce likelihood ratios, be it from even single source all the way to mixtures up to 4 people.
All right. And is this STR mix produced internationally?
Yes, it is.
And is this the company in New Zealand that you had referenced before?
Yes, it is the company in New Zealand that I referenced before.
Do you have knowledge as to how many labs around the world utilize this process?
Question asked and answered.
I'll overrule the objection.
There is approximately 43 labs internationally and within the United States that actually use STR mix for their forensic analysis.
Thank you, Your Honor, nothing else.
All right, sir, you can step down. Ms. Burdick, please call the next witness for the state.
Sharon Wagganer, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please state and spell your first and last name for Madam Court Reporter.
Sharon Wagganer, SharonWagganer.
Detective, you were previously sworn in. Do you understand you're still under oath?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Burdick.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness with what's been introduced into evidence as States 132?
Go ahead.
If I may show you an item that is inside States 132 in evidence. Have you seen this item somewhere besides Jennifer Fulford's automobile?
That particular item, I saw in a
This-
photograph.
This brand,
The brand, yes,
where?
in the home of Reed Berman.
All right. How many bottles?
I collected 11 from the home.
In what locations?
The interior kitchen refrigerator and the pool refrigerator.
No other questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
No.
All right, Detective, you can step down. Thank you. All right, Ms. Burdick, please call the next witness for the state.
Brian Ferrerra.
Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state and spell your first and last name for Madam Court Reporter.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. It's Brian, B-R-I-A-N, Ferrerra, F-E-R-R-A-R-A.
Thank you. Ms. Burdick?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please tell the court and the members of the jury how you were employed.
I am a detective with the Orlando Police Department.
How long have you been employed with that agency?
18 years.
What is your current assignment there?
I'm currently assigned to the homicide unit.
And how long have you been working with the homicide unit at the Orlando Police Department?
2.5 years.
Does the Orlando Police Department routinely provide investigative assistance to other agencies in Orange County as necessary?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you aware of an investigation into the death of an individual by the name of Jennifer Fulford?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you become involved in some aspect of the investigation being conducted by the Winter Park Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that related to Mrs. Fulford's vehicle being found within the Orlando Police Department's jurisdiction?
Yes, ma'am.
In connection with the assistance that you provided to the Orlando Police Department, did you travel to Jacksonville, Florida on October 1st of 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
On that date, did you meet with an individual identified to you as Scott Nelson?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see Mr. Nelson in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you point him out, please, and describe what he's wearing so we know we're talking about the same person?
Yes, ma'am. He's sitting at the table to my left. He's in the middle seat. He's
All right.
wearing a jacket and tie.
All right, the record will reflect he's identified the defendant, Scott Nelson. Were you there when Mr. Nelson was being photographed?
Yes, ma'am.
And after that process was complete, did you provide your business card to Mr. Nelson in the event that he wished to contact you?
Yes, ma'am.
After October 1st of 2017, did you receive some correspondence from Mr. Nelson?
Yes, ma'am.
If I may approach the witness with what's been marked as States X for identification.
Go ahead.
Thank you. You would take a look inside the packaging and tell me if you are familiar with the contents.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what is it?
It's a handwritten letter.
Did it come to you in the envelope that's also contained within the package?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a return address on it, just the name?
Yes, ma'am.
Or a name and return address?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that name Scott Nelson?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it postmarked?
It is, yes.
What is the postmark on that envelope?
If I can read it, it looks like the 2nd of November, 2017.
All right. Is the letter inside dated?
Yes.
What date does it have?
November 1st, 2017. Got it? Thank you.
Did the letter contain a request from the author for you to come see him?
Yes.
And did you do so on November 13th of 2017?
Yes.
Was Mr. Nelson in custody at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you interview Mr. Nelson?
Yes, ma'am.
Was the interview audio recorded?
It was.
Video?
No, ma'am.
Was anyone with you during the interview?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was that?
Detective Wagner.
Were you present for the entire interview?
Yes, ma'am.
Is your entire contact with Mr. Nelson recorded?
Yes, ma'am.
During that process, did Detective Wagner bring several photographs?
She did.
And did you see Mr. Nelson affix his signature to the photographs as they were discussed?
Yes.
If I may approach the witness with what's marked as states GI, GJ, GK, GL, GM, GN, GO, GP, GQ, GR, GS, GT, GU, GV, and GW.
Yes?
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
I believe I put the identification letters on the record already.
Yes.
I could have you look at those
Yes, ma'am.
and tell me if you are familiar with the item.
Yes, ma'am.
Are these photographs used during the interview with Mr. Nelson that you observed him fix his signature to?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this point, I would seek to introduce the reference letter exhibits for identification into evidence.
We would stand on our previous objections, Your Honor.
All right, those are overruled for the reasons stated at the bench. The items marked for identification as stated on the record by Ms. Burdick are admitted into evidence, starting with State's Exhibits at 179, and then consecutively numbered as determined by Madam Clerk.
GI is 179. GJ is 180. GK is 181. GL is 182. GM is 183. GN is 184. GO is 185. GP is 186. GQ is 187. GR is 188. GS is 189. GT is 190. GU is 191. GV is 192. And GW is 193.
Now, you said the interview with Mr. Nelson was audio recorded in its entirety.
Yes, ma'am.
You've had the opportunity to listen to that interview.
Yes, ma'am.
And did the recording device work properly?
Yes, ma'am.
And the recording is a fair and accurate duplication of the interview you had with Mr. Nelson.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this point, I would seek to introduce GH for identification into evidence.
And we would stand on our prior objections, Your Honor.
All right, objection is overruled. What's been marked for identification as GH is admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 194.
And Your Honor, may we approach with a item we need to place on the record?
Sure. Counsel?
Your Honor, at this time, we would seek to publish the interview, which is 1 hour and 11 minutes in length.
Members of the jury, you are about to hear recorded conversations. These recorded conversations are proper evidence, and you may consider them just as any other evidence. You are also being furnished transcripts of the recorded conversations. The recordings are the evidence, and the transcripts are provided to you only as a guide to help you follow as you listen to the recordings. The transcripts are not evidence of what was actually said or who said it. If you notice any difference between what you hear on the recordings and what you read in the transcripts, you must rely on what you hear, not what you read. Ms. Burdick, you can publish the exhibit.
Your Honor, may we have a moment to connect to the courtroom's Wi-Fi?
Sure.
CJ 015432, and it's approximately 10:41 a.m. at FDC in Miami for an interview with Nelson.
I'm not getting the proper hygiene. I'm really screwed up. I'm doing it a hard time. I mean, real hard time. Hungry, all that, you know. And it's really, you know, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. I've heard horror stories about You know, it's not a real upper, but it's like this. You know, I was doing really well. Okay, in society, in the street. I got a job, and I'm working at a yoga.
That's right, that's where you're working, right? Well, you know, let's talk, well, let me, if you don't mind, I mean, I'm sure, I want to make sure we got, you know, so this is a copy of the letter I got, so I want to make sure, this is definitely you, right? Nobody's playing games or anything like that, this was you, right, that wrote this?
Yep, that'd be me.
All right, so it says, sir, this is Scott Edward Nelson, and it has your date of birth, 02/28/64, and has your social on there, and it says we last spoke in Jacksonville, so I remember that. And, you know, it has a date of November 1st, so this is definitely you, right?
Yep, okay.
I got it on the 8th, so you see how quick you said come down, and I came down. You know, I obviously I was like I said, you know, the bottom part here kind of concerned me because I want to make sure you're okay. You know, and did you write this letter the same day that you mailed it, or?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
What prompted you to write the letter?
Can I look at it again?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
You have to understand, I'm trying to, well, yeah, because of the conditions that they have me under. But I mean, it's got to change. I mean, something has to change. It's quid pro quo. I mean, you know, you guys have the answers that you need, and I have that information. And someone needs to drive home to these people that, hey, you need to do something for this guy rather than what you're doing.
Well, you understand that this isn't my home, right? You know that, and I can't promise you anything, but I can absolutely bring your concerns to them and say this is what he's having a hard time with. I can absolutely do that, you know, and I think we did okay last time when we talked, me and you. You know,
we're okay. So
this is your show. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, you know, well, for instance, I was on the streets for months and I had nothing.
Okay.
I mean, so I really had nowhere to go. I had nothing going for me.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Sure.
Okay,
How are you supposed to get ahead anywhere with that?
Well, no, how are you supposed to survive?
Yeah.
And, you know, so they did, and they're still doing it. I mean, the things are just in the toilet, and they're getting worse and worse and worse and worse for me. And it's not going to stop until I'm either dead or something. They're not going to stop. Okay, so that's what...
We don't want to see that happen. I mean, you know, I'll tell you right now.
No, I
don't want to see that happen.
I know, Detective.
Brian, there you go.
I know, Brian. I appreciate you coming. And look,
what's up?
As far as you know, what created this whole thing to be, you know, I was thrown to the street again, and I had nowhere to live. I'm completely broke. And, you know, I had been in Winter Park a few times. Okay, so it wasn't the first time I had been to Winter Park. And what happened there was I noticed that it's a very affluent type of place. It is. People have a lot of money and things like this, and they have a different lifestyle. Where 15 minutes away in Orlando, where I was living, people are dead ass broke. I mean, you know, homeless people everywhere. You know.
I talked to them.
Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is that, you know, that I wasn't particularly happy with this.
Sure.
See, these people in Winter Park, for instance, right, they have everything by the balls. They have beautiful homes and beautiful cars and golf courses, and, you know, and I'm literally okay, I knew what I was going to do. All right. I needed money. And I did what I had to do to survive. I was never on the right medication to begin with. And they're still not giving me the right medication. They sent me down here for a psychological evaluation. And all they've done is take me off medication, adjusted. I'm getting the same thing I had before. I mean, no one is trying to, and I don't care about the help. I don't care about the help. So I went from being like the golden boy, and because of sheer work, I broke my ass for this company. I work very hard for this company.
How do you say it again?
I think it's a Yoba.
But it's all spelled weird and funny and then,
Yeah, it's supposed to be some Greek letter.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to get it except the owner.
Okay.
And
So you're working for him now, so you're trying to do right.
yeah, and I was doing very well, after months and months of walking around the streets with nothing, not even water.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to change your colostomy. Believe me, the anger builds up.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure. I hope I don't look at you like
I believe you, Brian. And I'm willing to help you people because I'm going to be found guilty even if I didn't say anything. You have enough forensic evidence to get capital murder on me right now anyway. I mean, you do.
Go ahead.
And anyway, right, so it isn't, I don't care if it's capital murder, I don't care if it's life, that's for another day.
Okay.
So I'm walking around Winter Park, and all these people, they have money, they have beautiful homes, beautiful families, cars, diamond rings, just like 8 jewelry stores in one block area.
Sure. Yeah, there are a lot.
Driving the Mercedes and stuff, and I wanted to make it an example.
Okay.
I tried doing the right thing. I really did, because I had no money, so I shot a video.
Okay.
It was on YouTube.
Okay. It was?
Yes, it's still on YouTube.
So it was on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the video about?
It was about the Pulse nightclub.
Okay.
And you can watch it and review it.
Okay, where would I find it?
You'd find it at, give me a second, Pulse nightclub, homeless.
Homeless, okay.
And that right there would be very beneficial.
Okay.
So I went around and I hung up flyers all over Lake Eola.
Okay.
And I hung up flyers in Winter Park.
What were they about?
Flyers asking for help, saying, listen, hi, I'm Todd Ulrich.
Todd Ulrich, yeah, the news reporter.
This guy. So I talked to him on the phone, and Channel 9 News called me one time and says, hey, yeah, we're going to help you.
Now, when you put these flyers up there, have your phone number on? Is that how you
yes.
with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
they called you.
So
Okay.
No, actually no, because no one ever really wanted to help me because
I'm sure probably had pissed off,
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you probably weren't asking for too much on the flyers.
No, I was just, I'm trying to get off the street.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, abide by the law. I'm trying to get off the street.
Kind of like this vicious cycle, isn't it?
Well, I finally just got to the point that, really, I'm so upscale. People call me upscale homeless because I was clean cut.
Right.
So, I couldn't get anywhere. There was no traction. I couldn't get any money. I couldn't get a job.
No, listen.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is your time, and you know what? Use it, because we'll sit and talk, because you know what? It's probably very rare that you get to sit and talk to somebody. So
yeah,
So I'm in no rush, all right? So understand that, okay? I'm really not,
So
vents.
I worked very hard to try to abide by the law and do everything right.
Right.
Okay, and apparently it didn't work out too well for me, but I shot that video trying to get attention to my cause.
Sure.
Trying to say, hey, listen, I need an operation.
Right.
Well, I'm being asked to leave supposedly over a can of beer that was found in the refrigerator, which that really wasn't the case. It was what happened 3 days before. Actually, the can of beer was found way prior to that. So it was just the excuse to say, hey, you need to go now.
So they're just waiting for something to happen so they can get rid of it.
Right, and give me any excuse.
So meanwhile, they're using your labor for,
I'm working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm working 7 days a week.
7 days a week? Really?
From morning until, I was a slave.
Is it because they knew they had you and they can get you to do it?
Well, yeah, they found that the more we give him, the more he does. And the more he gives them, I'm just a slave animal.
So another person that took advantage of your situation, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my situation. So I made a determination in my head that, after months of living like this, I made a determination that these people in Winter Park, I wasn't, that no one will help me. No one will do a fucking thing for me.
Sure.
So finally, I couldn't take it anymore. So on the 26th of It was a Tuesday. Matter of fact, you had 2 suicides on the railroad track there.
Okay.
September. I remember that.
September 27th, not 26th. So in Winter Park, they have, right by the train tracks, they have this little wooden thing. There's a plaque on the floor of it. It says Pat King. It's like a little jacuzzi, not a jacuzzi, a little...
Like a fountain?
No, it's a little wooden sitting area.
Oh, it's like almost like a sauna, I think is probably what you're thinking of.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a little wooden thing there.
Yeah.
This is Pat King. I guess she was someone in Winter Park at one time. Anyway, it's right by the real estate thing on, it's not far from the Wells Fargo Bank.
New England, and
Yeah, that's
New
it.
York is the
Yeah.
real estate company.
Yeah, right there. So I'm sitting there, and that night I had been walking around Winter Park. Of course, I have no money, and things started adding up. You know, I had all I could take, and it just something happened to me that I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm hungry because all my property, everything I own is in the bushes.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen guys do that before. Yeah.
Now there was a 2 month, there was a whole month of September that nobody knows where I was living. Okay.
Were you outdoors, or did you have a place you were going?
No, I was staying at a place.
Okay.
But we may get to that.
Okay, all right.
No problem.
So we're back at the plaque and the sauna, we'll call it.
That's a gazebo you were saying back there.
Yeah.
I know
So
back
what
there.
happened while you were there?
So I happened to be there. That's when, you know, about 11 o'clock at night, that's when, in my mind, I officially died. Okay, I died. I was dead.
Okay.
I died that night. Okay, I mean, it was...
I'm sorry you got to that point, really.
Why didn't you send flowers anyway? So I died that night, okay? I had nothing. I have no family. I have zero. I'm less than zero. Okay, I'm dead. There's no more going forward.
This is how you see it, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I'm in Winter Park. I'm surrounded by all this wealth. All this wealth, and I'm sitting there, right? And there's people walking up and down, and they're getting their pictures taken for their wedding and all this, the parasols and all this, and getting pictures, and people driving. And here I am, right? I'm clean cut, I'm intelligent, I'm highly employable, I work like a dog, and I can't have nothing. I'm just dead.
Right.
It's crazy. It's ludicrous. I mean,
Yeah.
what am I going to do?
No, you're
I mean, what if I knock on someone's door and say, hey, hi, I'm hungry, can I have something?
Right.
The first thing they'll do is call the police.
Yeah.
Right? It's a damn shame that society has to be that way, but there was nothing I could do. So, you know, the funny thing is that, you know, this place that I went to, you know, of course, UPS had delivered a package to that residence by the...
Okay.
Well, actually, I even stopped at the golf course about 40 minutes before, and I spoke to this woman. Her name was Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson?
And she was a golfer on the golf course. And Leah introduced herself to me, and she had been playing golf and stuff there at the golf course. And she said, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm just having a little bit of chest pains. I was wondering if I could get some water. And they didn't even care about that. I mean, they just were like, what are you doing here? You know,
You went in the clubhouse?
yeah, it was like right out on the patio of the clubhouse.
Okay.
And some of the golfers are coming back, and they're going to have some sandwiches and drinks and stuff, water. So I couldn't even get a cup of water, you know, from anybody. And so that's, you know, well, the night before, I had been walking around the affluent neighborhoods and stuff, and I knew that I was going to make an example of I'm going to do a home invasion.
Okay.
So I knew that I was going to do that.
Okay.
Okay, there's no question I was going to do that.
Sure.
I knew I was going to do that, so I noticed this one house, and it happened to be 5 o'clock, I'd say 5 o'clock in the afternoon on the 26th. And I see Jennifer getting out of a vehicle with a young boy,
Okay.
and they go into the house. And I could tell just by the way she was dressed that she was not the first thing I had in my head was she must be a house cleaner or something of that nature.
Okay.
Okay, so I made the determination at that point that I was going to do a home invasion on that house.
Okay.
So, but I wasn't quite sure. But I wanted to make an example of Winter Park.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, be it evil, be it whatever, that's what I was going to do. Okay? I really hate Winter Park.
Right, yeah.
I know you guys are gonna have a hell of a conversation, on the way back and say, that son of a bitch, he's gonna deserve everything he gets, but,
I don't.
You always remember, never lose sight of one thing, that every human being is capable of murder.
Everybody has a breaking point, too.
Yeah, and, I've suffered for so many years, I just can't take it anymore. I'm starving to death on the street.
Why did you choose her to make an example? I'm just curious.
Well, it was just, here are these beautiful homes with a beautiful golf course on the front yard. They have these beautiful homes, these beautiful lives. The refrigerator is full of fucking food, driving these expensive vehicles, and I know for a fact, here I am, a human being, and I'm dying. I died the night before.
Yeah.
I have no family, I have no friends, I have no associates, I have no money, I have nothing coming. 0, 0, 0, 0, less than 0. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I can't even breathe. And if all these cars are going by, and if I ask, hey, please someone help me, they would just keep on driving.
Yeah.
Fuck them,
So tell me more about that then. So you see Jennifer.
Yeah, so I see her at 5 o'clock as she goes in the front door with the boy.
Yeah.
Right? And so I walk around the corner, and there's a street right there on the corner, but it's like a little fountain there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I sat by the fountain, I smoked some cigarettes, and I thought about things, and then I left, and I went back down to that gazebo thing. And that's the night I pretty much died on the park bench right there.
Okay.
Because I have nothing. I have nothing to, I actually died. I mean, there's nothing. I'm dead. But there's a little more to the story than that too. That month of September, I was living, and I met somebody that knew Jennifer, okay? So they had been words between Jennifer and this individual, and they had told me that she did house cleaning there. So that's kind of like what brought me to Winter Park. And, okay, so let me speed it up a little bit.
No, you're fine.
So that's that. So anyway, so the next day I stopped at the golf course. It's like noontime.
Right.
It's and they wouldn't even give me a glass of water there. So that was it. I couldn't take it anymore.
Sure.
I've got to do something.
Right.
Sure. So I just made an example of my situation and the hate I have for the Winter Park community. I know, I really do. These people have bought everything in the world, and it's crazy. Sure. And so I went up to the UPS. What is that place called? UPS.
Right. The roundhouses.
Yeah, they had delivered a package.
Okay.
The guy delivered a package, and the minute he drove away, I went up and I rang the doorbell, and Jennifer answered, and I said to her, I said, you have a package on the doorstep here. Sure. And she says, yeah, I know. And she was looking at me a little odd, like, who are you? Why are you telling me this? And that's when I pushed the door and pushed it in. I went and shut the door, and she screamed. Okay. And she was, frightened. Sure. And I had a knife. Okay. So I told her to lay down on the floor, and then I bound her with some zip ties. Okay. And she was. I said, I'm not going to rape you. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just here for the money. Okay. And she was not very helpful with my needs. Okay. Okay. She wouldn't give me any direction as to what was in the house, if there was anything in the house. I checked the alarm system. The alarm system was still not activated. Okay. Okay. And I asked her a few pointed questions, and she was not too cooperative. Sure. And so I said, "Is there any money in the house?" She said there isn't. And I said, I asked about the owner of the home, and she said that he's a real estate exec or something of that nature. And I asked her, I said, well, whose son is that?
Right.
And she wouldn't give me any information about whose son it is. She wouldn't tell me she was a nanny.
Right.
You know, or that was her son or whatever. She made an indication that, you know, that it was, that she had to pick the boy up at 2:30.
Okay.
Okay, now, I don't know if it's true, if it's not true, or for what it is, but she was, see, the thing is, I mean, she was doing everything, I mean, here it is, this honest citizen, and she's probably never told many lies in her whole life.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, she runs into a bad guy, and now she wants to lie on her ass. It's like, well, what is
Just another thing.
and, what possesses, I mean, whatever happened to give the guy what he wants and let him leave? No.
Did that just make the situation worse?
Yeah, yes, it did. It made it a lot worse because I'm just trying to get some food, some money, and whatever. I don't know. But it didn't go well. So she kept on. She wasn't doing it to like protect the owner of the house.
Right.
She was doing it to like to somehow mislead me.
Yeah.
And give me, you know, inaccurate information. So I asked her, I said, do you have an ATM card? She said, yes, she did. And I said, well, I got her PIN number and stuff. And I said, well, I'm going to get that. And she told me that the owner had some expensive watches upstairs. Okay. So I went upstairs for a second. I got the brown comforter off the bed. I wrapped her in the brown comforter and put her in the back of her own vehicle.
Okay.
I loaded her up through the front door, and then I left.
Okay.
So she was in the back of the vehicle, and I left with her.
Okay.
And then I went to the ATM machine, and she was in the back of the vehicle. And when I left the vehicle, she tried to explain that she was having a hard time breathing. She could, she was uncomfortable and different things like that.
How come she couldn't breathe?
Because the comforter was apparently wrapped around her or something. You know, she was in the very small area in the back of the vehicle. So I went to the ATM machine and I withdrew the $300. And then I went back to the vehicle and then I left.
Where did you park when you were at the ATM?
Right in front of New York is this way, Wells Fargo is with this cross street.
New England? Is that where the real estate company is?
I could draw it for you.
Sure.
Yeah, there it is. It would be like, this is like Wells Fargo. 1 second. Here is like, there's a bus stop right here.
Okay.
This is Wells Fargo. Mm-hmm. The real estate is here, okay?
Yeah.
This is the street, so I parked right here, right there. Okay, that's the real estate. So it's pretty much like right across the street from the real estate.
So you parked before you crossed New York, because this is New York.
Yeah, that's New York.
So you parked, but you didn't cross New York and park up here, you parked back there?
Well, actually, I did. Yeah, I did. I parked here originally. Okay. Right, but then I moved. I moved there.
Okay.
The reason I moved from here to there is because there was a vehicle behind it.
Okay.
Some man came in, he's like, I don't know what he's doing, eating his lunch. And I mean, what's he going to think?
And you knew she was in the back?
Yeah, so I parked there.
Okay, makes sense.
So once you got the money?
Yeah, I got the money, then I went shopping.
Okay.
This kind of cold-blooded, isn't it?
But listen, it's one of those things, I think you were in a place where, you've had enough. You've had enough.
Yeah.
And I think, if I understand you right, it's, well, everybody didn't care when I was asking for help, and nobody could just even give me a glass of water, so I'm going to go and kind of, you're showing the amount of compassion that you got shown is what it sounds like to me.
Right.
Am I pretty right on that?
I think you're accurate on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not firing on all my cylinders, but the thing is, I have my faculties. I know the difference between right and wrong.
Okay.
I knew what I was doing was wrong.
Okay.
There's no question, but it just, you have to understand, and I know you do, it just, it isn't like some evil demon came out of me. It isn't that. It's just of how many, I got cuts and scratches all over my body. So anyway, so I so I stop at some racetrack, and Jennifer's in the back, and she's, I stop at a racetrack store. Can I turn this chair on?
Yeah, you can just.
I'm going to sit in a different direction here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, all right. I want you to be comfortable, you know, I really do.
The legs hurt. So I take Jennifer and we stop at a racetrack.
Okay.
I don't know where the racetrack is.
You don't remember where it was?
No.
Was it long drive, short drive? Any idea?
I would say probably 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'm curious, I want to hear, you know, why don't we let you kind of tell us, and then if there's details that we need to fill in, we'll go back. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, yeah.
all right. So you know, like I said, this is your story. So you go to this racetrack.
Yeah, so I go to racetrack and I park on the side of racetrack.
Okay.
There's like a dead-end street right there next to racetrack.
Okay.
So I parked there and I went in, I bought cigarettes and some alcohol.
Well, the first cigarette's not all you had in a while, I would think.
Well, no, actually, no, but I just bought a beer and some cigarettes.
Sure.
And now I'm trying to decide, you know, ideally what I wanted to do was, see, she misled me inside the house, because what I wanted to do was, this person who owns this home, I know his name too. Anyway, I wanted to have him go to the bank, ideally.
Okay.
To go to the bank and withdraw a large sum of money.
Okay.
And had she given me the correct information, that could have been possible. You know, I'm not trying to diminish her heroics, but I don't think she was being heroic. I think she was just stuck on misleading me.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it came down to. So I wanted to have the owner go to the bank and withdraw a large enough sum of money.
Okay.
And that didn't happen.
No.
So now I have Jennifer in the back of the vehicle, and I have $300, and now what do I do with her?
Right.
So she started complaining more and more, and I said, listen, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to open the door and let you go right here? I mean, I can't just drop you off on the street corner.
Yeah.
So she offered to give me her wedding ring off her jewelry off her hand. And I said, listen, honey, I don't need that. I said, I just need you to be quiet and think this through, because I really wanted to go back and get the owner to go to the bank and get me something I could survive on.
Sure.
And that didn't happen. So now I'm driving, trying to find a place to find Jennifer, where I can put her, right? She's, of course, she's telling me, throughout this whole experience, even in the house, she says, I'm really afraid you're going to kill me. Right. Please don't kill me. Right. And she's very scared when she was in the house, and she's very scared now. And I can feel for her. I know it's cold-blooded, but I can really feel for her situation. Right. But in all reality, I'm having a hard time having compassion, because I've been brutalized for so many years that I don't even know what compassion is anymore. Okay.
It's like a dog that's been hit too many times. I'm not saying you're
No, I understand what you're saying.
There's a distrust of everybody at that point in time. Right. And a rage.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the human condition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So it was like about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She said she had to pick up her grandson at 2:30. Okay. And her phone started ringing and stuff. I just shut it off. Okay. So I finally found a place to put Jennifer wherever that road is.
Do you know where it was by?
No.
Okay, that's okay.
Somewhere in Disney.
So why do you say that?
Because there were signs for Disney.
Okay.
So I brought her there, and I brought her, and I got all cut up in the...
Those were the cuts that we saw?
Yes. Okay. And I brought her there, and that was it. That was the end of it.
What did you do after that?
I drove back to the Publix in West Colonial or East Colonial, one of the two. Okay. And I dropped the vehicle off. Okay. And then I went back to Winter Park to get my belongings. Okay. I sat in the gazebo.
You went back to the gazebo?
Yeah, I did.
Was that kind of like a peaceful place for you? Was it kind of like a place where you could...
Well, it was the only place that everything I own in the world is right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my things sticking in the bushes.
Is that where you went back to get your stuff?
Yeah, I went back to get my stuff.
Okay. And then what?
And then, let me think, that was it. Then I sat there and I thought about what I've done, everything, and I was hungry.
Yeah.
And, this is the evil part of it all. With concern to the, after everything that's been gone on, here I am, I'm back in Winter Park, and nothing's changed.
No.
Okay, I may have a couple $100 in my pocket. A girl is dead. And I still have complete contempt for Winter Park.
Didn't it make you feel any better?
No, it didn't make me feel any better, but I just don't understand how, things are the way they are. So I went to 7-Eleven down on the end of New York or whatever street it is there.
Mm-hmm.
Right around the corner there, to 7-Eleven. I went and I ordered a pizza.
Okay.
And
favorite food, remember we talked about that.
So I call it...
When you went to 7-Eleven of all places, couldn't you find a better place to get a pizza at that point?
Well, I called it the blood pizza.
Okay.
I finally had a certain level of self-respect. I felt like good. I finally made someone pay for all the shit that I've been through. And it'll send a tremor through the community of Winter Park. And so I took my blood pizza because somebody died for me to get this fucking pizza. So I walk down and I'm holding the beer and I'm walking and I'm dressed immaculately because I've washed myself and everything in Publix. And I'm walking down the street while all these rich people are walking around buying jewelry and they're having their good life and all this stuff and wouldn't give a rat's fuck about me. And so I'm carrying my pizza. Little did these bastards know what I had to do for this friggin' pizza. Yeah. And I walked back up to that gazebo and I ate that pizza, every bite of it, and I enjoyed every damn bite of it. And I really did. And I hope, my only regret is that I hadn't killed 30 more sons of bitches like her. Because I wish I had.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I really do, Brian.
Very, very upset.
Yeah.
That's a rage.
I don't even I don't care.
I don't care.
I know they're gonna...
Even though she wasn't one of the, people that you're referring to of Winter Park.
Well, no, actually she is. She's just one. She is because, see, the way I figure it is this, is that, you see, like all these like a mean police officer, right? Everyone wants a mean police officer hurt, wouldn't they? I mean, the son of a bitch who keeps being rotten to you, or beating you, kicking you, arresting you. Well, anyone wants that. I want the one that everyone likes. I want the nicest, smallest, nicest one, because maybe that'll hurt even more. Because these people have been fucking me around for so many years and doing all this evil, wicked shit to me, and doing everything that they can do to hurt you and make you go crazy.
Right.
And, well, I did what I did. So, here it is, this Scott Nelson, the animal on the loose. Scott Nelson was a pretty damn nice guy. Really polite, respectful. I mean, a real nice guy, but you don't want to get him going the wrong direction.
Well, Scott,
Yeah.
we talked before, and I told you, I said, didn't I say to you, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you probably remember a lot of what I said, I would think, and I said there's always two sides to every story, and you have a story just like anybody else, you understand what I'm saying? And if I can say thank you to you, I want to say thank you to you, because to share with me your reasons why is one of those things, this is your testimony, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, this is why, not just because, but here's why, right? I mean, and if I have to understand why you wrote this letter for me to come down here, besides the treatment, I'm sure there was something more to that, and I'm thinking that's it. Am I right in that?
Yeah, I would like my story to be said.
Yeah,
how I
You want to be heard.
Yeah.
And,
maybe we can prevent this from happening again if we start looking at the causes of why. So, in a sense, you're doing us a great service, because then we can actually understand and say, you know, maybe we can try and stop this from happening in the future.
Yes.
So, you know, again, I just can't say thank you enough, and especially, you reached out to me, so I can't say thank you enough for trusting me.
I appreciate you
With
coming
that,
down too.
and, you know,
I know you're a busy person.
Well,
You've got a lot
you
going
know,
on, but,
like, you're a human being like anybody else, and please understand, I don't sit in this chair and judge, okay? I've talked to plenty of people over my career, and it's not for me to judge. So, you know, when you say evil and this and that, I see Scott, okay?
yes.
But can we kind of try to fill in some more of the gaps? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, this person that knew Jennifer, they're not going to be in any trouble or anything like that. I'm just as curious as to who they were and how they had a connection to Jennifer.
Can I leave that blank right now?
Sure, absolutely.
Any other questions on that?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll leave that. And I'm sure I can understand why. I can absolutely understand why, because that's the person that you care about. When you went into the house and Jennifer was there, did you bring that duct tape with you that you used?
Yes.
Okay, and the zip ties too?
Yes.
Did you go get that from somewhere, or where did you?
Yeah, I purchased all that at Walmart.
Walmart?
Yeah.
How many days before?
I think perhaps a week before in Princeton Street.
Okay.
I purchased it with a check.
The Walmart up, keep going up, John Young.
It's
up
like
that
past
way.
College Park.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So about a week before?
I would say about a week before.
Okay, all right.
I purchased it with a check.
Was it your check?
Yes.
You have a checking account?
Yeah.
Could you just tell me what bank it is?
It was out of Chase
Okay.
in Winter Park.
And so, when you went inside, did you immediately bind her up, or how did that happen?
Well, when I rang the doorbell, she answered, then I pulled out the knife.
Okay.
And she jumped back 3 feet.
Okay.
Let out a scream, and then I pushed the door open, I shut it, and then she didn't know what to do, and I gave her directions. She got face down on the floor, and I zip tied her up.
I understand.
She said her hands were hurting, so I took the zip tie off, I cut it off, and I put another one on looser, tied on her legs, and then I asked her for direction. I explained that we're not going to hurt you, I'm not going to rape you, I'm not going to do anything, I just want money, is there any money in the house? And that's when she started going on a lying campaign. And, you know, for whatever reason, I mean, it's what happened, so.
What was the lying campaign? She just wouldn't tell you where anything was?
Yeah, she said that, you know, I said, who owns the house? I already knew.
How did you already know?
That
Legal
September escapade, so. So long story short, right, so I tied her up and I said, you know, about the watch, and she told me about watches upstairs and different things.
What about what watch? I'm sorry, you said what?
She told me that the owner had some very expensive watches upstairs.
Because you're asking about money at that point.
Right.
I gotcha, okay.
And,
Did you take any of them?
no.
None of the watches?
No, I took nothing out of the house.
Well, let me ask you this question. You did have a watch on that day, though. You didn't?
Nope. Wait a minute. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Did that come from there, or did you have that already?
No, it's funny because I had forgotten. Yeah, I did have a watch that day. Somebody gave me the watch, the same person, that month thing.
I got you.
And they gave me the watch, and I had thrown it away at Publix.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll get back to that. Okay, we'll come around to that. So you go upstairs, you look around, and it's when you took.
I can't find anything of value. I don't bother.
Did you find these watches that she talked about?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I never did.
Okay. What made you think to get the comforter off the bed?
Well, something has to cover her up in order to take her out the front door.
Okay.
I can't just like take a bound out the front door.
Was she walking or did you carry her?
I carried her.
Well, when did you the ATM, the pin for the ATM? How did you get that from her?
She told me what it was.
Okay. She told you.
Yep.
Okay. Did you have to? You said she wasn't being cooperative, so I'm just trying to understand it. Did you have to do anything to her?
No. She was forthcoming. She just gave me that information.
Okay.
But everything else was like, you know, she wouldn't tell me anything or give me any details or, you know, she was, you know.
Sure.
She was scared. I mean, and I would be too. Anyone in their right mind would be.
Okay. And could you tell me, like, when you said you got the comforter, you were going to put her in the car, you carried her to the car. Can you tell me everywhere that you duct taped her? Like, what did you duct tape?
Just her face.
You did her face?
Yes.
Well, when did you do that? Because if she's talking to you, like, at what point did you do her face?
When we got to the final destination.
Okay, all right. That's when you duct taped her face?
Yes.
Was that, well, so she was still talking and stuff when you left her there, and then you duct taped her, or tell me about that?
Well, I chosen to bring her down that particular road because it seemed a lot like a wooded area to bring her. So I got her out of the vehicle, and she started getting louder and louder, so I put some duct tape. And then louder and louder, so then, she's pleading for her life.
Yeah.
And things of such nature, so I duct taped her more, and then I had no intentions of killing her.
Okay.
But one thing led to another, and so I killed her.
How exactly how?
I stabbed her 3 times that I can remember.
Do you remember where?
Yeah, once in the back, another time in the back, and then the third time I was walking away, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to let this bitch testify against me, because they're going to give me the same amount of time. So I killed her. I put one through her heart. And I put it into her heart, but close enough to her heart. And then the first time I stabbed her, I don't even know if she realized she was stabbed. So I started duct taping her face more, and I decided I'm going to kill her. So I just duct taped her whole fucking head.
Yeah.
And then I stabbed her again in the back, but I know it must have went through her lung. And that's when she started crying, like, oh, no. She knew at that point she was going to die.
How could you tell it went through her lung?
Because of the area where, I stabbed her.
Okay.
The knife went completely to the hilt, if you will. And, so I turned her around, and I put some more duct tape on her. Then I was going to leave, and I said, all she's going to do is testify against me anyway. She would put me away for the rest of my fucking life anyway. So so I killed her. That's what I did. So I put the knife into her heart area, and she was still alive. But because of, I know a little bit about anatomy.
Sure.
So I turned the knife, and she was still alive. And even though it's sunk right in the middle of her chest, I knew that if and I did, and I just moved it, and she let out a gasp, and that was it. And she died.
Could she breathe with the tape that you put on her face?
Very little.
And she told you she was having a hard time breathing at some point?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever hit her in the head, or did she ever hit her head on the ground or anything like that?
The back of her head?
Yeah.
Yes, I punched her.
When?
Prior to duct taping her up.
At the house?
No.
Or at the car by the field?
Where she died.
Okay. So when you opened up the car, I guess she's making noise?
Right, and she started getting louder and louder. I asked her to be quiet, she wouldn't.
Okay. What did you do with her phone?
Her phone?
Yeah.
That was shut off and left in the vehicle.
Okay. And what about the knife?
The knife, I threw that
Where?
about 70 feet from the murder body.
Okay. All right.
Now,
Go ahead.
I know that everything I'm doing, what I'm saying is I know that, A, you're going to find the body,
Okay.
because I could have found other locations. See, do you understand that I left everything for the law enforcement to find?
Okay.
Because I didn't want this to be an anonymous thing. I wanted society to know.
Yeah.
I know that I could have taken that vehicle and brought it to car wash. I could have dropped it off with the keys in it at any place that reconditions vehicles and say, hey, recon my vehicle for me inside and out, and I'll pick it up tomorrow.
But you didn't.
But I didn't. Same thing with the body. I could have taken her and put her other places.
Sure.
I didn't.
Sure.
I know that construction guys and those big heavy equipment will be looking down there, or someone will walk by, or coming across the river, or whatever. They're going to find her.
Right.
As well as everything else. I laid everything out. That's why I had gloves, but I never used gloves.
Okay. So did you buy the gloves at the Walmart too?
Yes.
Okay. How did you get that, which wrist was he that big cut on? Was it
The briars.
the what?
Briars.
That wasn't from Jennifer?
No.
No.
That was all briars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those briars got you.
Even the ones you had on, you had some on the top of your hands too. Did she fight you,
No.
try to?
No.
No?
No.
Those briars got you good. I remember that.
Yes, sir.
They did.
Yeah, no. It's,
You still got some? They all healed up.
yeah.
But I want to
Yeah.
do some more stuff, but I got to ask you, and this is, I'm just curious. I mean, why now? You know, what changed your mind?
Well, I just, I know where the law is going to bring this. I know everything, and I just wanted my story to be told.
And there was nothing that I said or did, or this is what you want.
Yes. Well, you didn't force me to. Excuse my nose.
That's okay, no.
You didn't force me to anything, Brian. You didn't. No, I wanted to be forthcoming with this information.
Was your plan from the start, and just that's what I'm understanding, I just want to verify it, that you set out to do this to make a statement to the
Yes.
people of Winter Park?
Yes.
And if you killed somebody prominent or someone from a prominent family,
Had
make a
she
statement?
been honest, had she told me, listen, the owner of the house was going to be home at 5. She told me he was going to be home at 5.
Okay.
They told me that he had a son. But she threw a lot of shit in the game when she told me this thing about 2:30. And see, when I first got there, I said, is anyone in the house? And she said, there's no one in the house. I said, is anyone going to be coming? She said, yeah, in about 10 minutes, there's a girl to come to do the curtains. And I said, well, when I put the phone in front of her, I said, will you call that girl and tell her do not come? And she got on the phone and talked to the girl, and I hung the phone up. I said, is there anyone else coming? They said, no. I said, when's the owner coming home? He said, 5 o'clock. But I have to pick up my grandson at 2:30. Now, I don't know if she has a grandson. I'm sure she does. I don't know. I know he has a son or something of that variation. And it was just, there's too many combinations. And now I got her. So had there been no briars, because my legs and arms are all screwed up, had there been no briars, what my intention was to go back to that house, wait for the owner to come home and take him, hold him overnight and take him to the bank in the morning. And that's why the briars stopped me. Well, because I'm covered with,
Now you got to clean up.
yeah.
Would you have still killed her and left her there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I got a few pictures
Yeah.
that I'd like to show you.
Sorry about this.
don't be sorry. It's okay. It's kind of cold in here.
No, I'm just, the reason I have a running nose. Sorry.
Who's that?
That'd be Jennifer Fulford.
You recognize her?
You went. Turn that first name.
Where?
Hey, right there. Right there. Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Recognize that person?
Yeah, I was trying to recognize it in the context of me knowing her. I've never seen her in that, I know who it is, yeah.
Do you recognize the clothes that she has on that day?
Yep.
Jennifer?
Yep.
Is that the same outfit that she was wearing the day that you, excuse me?
Yeah, I recognize it all. I'm not sure about the shirt.
Okay.
But everything else, the shorts, the shoes, the purse, everything, yeah, the glasses.
If you wouldn't mind, just the pictures that you recognize, if you would just sign your name would be great. significant, but.
Thank you. Yeah, it's okay, Brian. Yeah, that's her vehicle.
And is that the vehicle that you took that day?
Yep, that's
And
it.
is that the vehicle that she was in the back of?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. This is the same vehicle, pictures. That day when you were at the house, did you eat any food there or drink any beverages or anything?
I took one beer
Okay. Where did you take that from?
out of the refrigerator.
Inside or? Yeah, I think the house had like 3.
Yeah, downstairs. I don't know, just downstairs.
Okay. There's a bar area in there? Was it in the kitchen refrigerator?
Kitchen refrigerator.
Okay. Do you remember what type it was?
No, I've never, I have no idea.
If I show you a picture of one that we
Yeah, that would be.
found, that's the blue.
Yeah, that's it.
Belgian white, okay.
Yep.
If you would, just put your initial or name on that one. And I wanted to ask you, this specific bag, is that your bag? This was found in Jennifer's car.
No, that is not mine.
Do you know where that came from?
Yeah, I think that's the one from that month thing. That,
Oh, somebody that you knew her? Okay.
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
And it's something that you brought with you then that day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
All right, we'll just.
Yeah, yes, yes, it did. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And is that the comforter that you took from the
Yep, that'd be it.
bedroom upstairs?
Yep.
It's kind of upside down, but I'll turn it around. This picture, this house, is this look familiar?
It looks, is that the back of it or the front of it?
There's 2 pictures at the front.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you recall what street it was on or anything like that? Do you know the streets in Winter
I
Park?
believe it's Park Avenue.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Park Avenue.
Package that you talked about that was out front, do you know what it was?
No,
No? Did you take it inside or?
no,
Okay.
just left it there. It's never touched.
Were you ever in the backyard of the home?
No.
Okay. Do you remember the hallway of the home? Did you ever use the downstairs bathroom?
No. Well, no.
No?
I think I put a purse in there or something, or,
You think you did? Do you remember where you would have put it?
no.
Does this item look familiar at all?
Yeah, it did. I hit that with my foot and took the top off.
Do you know what it is?
No, I have no idea. What is it?
It's a door stop.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked too, because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's just a typical door stop.
Yeah.
And you said you brought your own zip ties and your own tape and
Yes.
nothing was taken from the home.
That's
Where did you get the knife?
At Walmart,
That knife you bought at Walmart with the zip ties and the duct tape.
yes.
What type of knife was it?
It was it was like a 4-inch knife. It opens the locks open.
A folding knife?
Yeah, green and black.
Would you bought it like in what area of the store?
The like the sporting goods area.
Okay.
They have to actually bring it up to the front counter. They won't let you have it.
You lock behind it then.
Lock behind the thing, they bring it to the front counter.
Okay, all right.
And everything was purchased on one receipt from a personal check. It was for $500.
Your personal check was for $500?
$497.
Wow, you bought $497 worth of stuff? What all did you buy?
That was a lot of cigarettes.
Okay, okay. Because I was going to say, a knife and tape and,
It doesn't come to $497, no.
yeah.
No, there's like some clothing items, a pair of sneakers. That was, I wore that day, the blue ones.
Okay. Really bright
Yes,
blue.
yes.
Okay,
That would be the bed that the comforter came from.
okay. And that one, oh, I forgot this one, the doorstop. Guess we better find that one too. These are all just interior pictures inside this home.
Okay.
The, prior to that, you said you were out sitting in the area, hanging out in the neighborhood the night before.
Yeah.
Were you there that morning?
Yes.
What did you do that day? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was there very early in the morning. I was up around the street. There's like a thing here. Like, here's the golf course, okay? And his house is right here, okay? But if you take the corner, there's like a little fountain area.
Right.
And that's what it was. I sat there and waited.
Like all day? How long were you there?
A few hours.
So the night before you were there, and
Yes.
then you were there again?
That's correct.
How long did you leave for? Can you give me
Probably
an
an
idea?
hour. An hour. I'd leave for an hour.
Okay.
Come back. Use the bathroom, you know.
And then this clothing, is that your clothing that you're wearing in this picture? This white t-shirt and the white towel?
Yeah. Yep. Is there anything on the t-shirt? It's just a white t-shirt.
This is just a plain white t-shirt.
Yeah, that's
There is
fine.
another
Should there be something on the
photo.
shirt? Well, no. I wore another t-shirt too that day. It had Winter Park on it. Do you want me to sign this?
Yeah. And the watch that we discussed with you and that you told us
I
about,
threw that away in the trash.
you threw it away in the trash, okay. And
Publix.
at the Publix, is that where, the one where you left the car?
Yes.
And I actually have a picture of that. Let's see if this looks,
Yeah, that's the one.
that's the exact one. What happened to, because you said you had a different shirt later, what happened to this shirt and this towel?
It was covered, it had blood all over it.
Do you remember where you threw that or what happened to it?
Yeah, that and I think pretty much all the clothing I had, I believe, went into the trash in the men's room at Publix.
And I know these pictures were pretty much, on the news, so
Yes.
I'm sure you saw it too. That's the shirt you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one.
Where did you get this jacket and this hat?
The hat on the Walmart on that same purchase.
Same purchase?
Right. The jacket was just something that I just happened to find at that little gazebo thing. It just happened to be sitting there. And I needed something. When I went back, I grabbed that and grabbed my belongings in order to hide the marks all over my arms.
Okay. And that shirt, you said the person that you were staying with during the month of September gave you that? Were they a member there?
I believe so. No. They weren't a member, no. Trying to think where the heck I got that t-shirt. I know it's from Winter Park. I remember seeing Winter Park on it. I can't see too much, but it's a Winter Park shirt. Yeah, I can't remember, honestly.
Do you know what happened to it? What happened to these clothes?
Yeah, they were thrown away at the train station, about a few hundred feet from there.
Okay.
When I took the train.
Do you know where you placed them?
Yeah, they all went to the trash, right inside the men's room.
Oh, in the men's room, inside the station?
Yeah, inside the station,
Okay.
inside the men's room.
Okay.
And the girls that night, about 7:30, two Spanish girls came in and cleaned.
And that was on the 27th?
That was on the 27th. They came in and cleaned the whole bathroom, threw it all away. There's a bunch of stuff I threw in the bathroom. I mean, all kinds of things like an iron and, I had all kinds of things in my bag. I just got rid of it.
And
You're only allowed so many weight limit on the train.
that's what I was going to ask you. What kind of luggage did you have? And all
I just had
that?
one large large, like, what do they call those? Duffel bag, yeah.
And what kind of stuff did you have in it? Pretty much, was it everything that you owned, or?
Yeah, that was it. That's everything I own on the planet Earth. Yes. Yeah.
And then you left there and you went to, you bought a ticket, you said, to, Jacksonville.
That'd be correct.
Where they originally
Yes.
spoke with you.
Right.
And then I know the only other picture was in Jacksonville. And we let you out there at another Wells Fargo bank. That's your injury.
Right.
You, Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's get your. Sorry. I just get the pen. My only question, I don't know if there was any mention by Jennifer to you. Did she tell you that she is going anywhere? Does she have any trips planned or anything?
No.
No? Okay, I'm just curious.
No. I noticed that the husband had said that he said that she had, like, for the following day, that she had all kinds of plans for the following day.
And where'd you see that? Like on TV?
No, some type of documents I received from the court.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. What kind of documents do they send you?
It was some type of it was very detailed information that I received, saying that, on Wednesday night, about 7:30, the Altamont Springs police went to the husband, and said, what's going on with this missing person? And then the following night it was, anyway, they said then Saturday they found the deceased body.
Okay.
It was like an itinerary of everything that happened from the time, everything, detail,
Okay.
time, date, place, everything. Of everything that happened.
Right.
I know it's going to sound redundant because your name's on there and social thing, but just sign the script that for me. That's definitely you. You definitely wrote that letter.
Yeah, I wrote that, so.
And I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I didn't give you any, I didn't promise you anything.
No, you didn't. You didn't, sir.
You understood all of your rights.
I understood everything.
And I know we talked about your medication situation. That's an old complaint we have with them. Help me understand that a little bit better. Are you aware of what's going on, or is it just that they're just not giving you the meds and it's not what's going on with that?
Well, I mean, the medication is the same medication I've been taking for years.
Okay.
Okay, so that hasn't influenced.
Okay.
When I wrote that letter, I wasn't on medication at the time. I tend to worry more or whatever, but the medication makes you a little more calm.
So you knew what you were writing.
I know what
you knew you were asking for.
Yes, I understood that.
Did anybody help you
With
this incident with Jennifer?
Well, yeah, there was that person that for the month of September, I was living in a place, and there was a gentleman, and that bag belonged to that gentleman. And long story short, they had known Jennifer, and they had an argument. So that's how I knew about that house that she worked at. And I promise you, I promise you that I'm not going to hold this over your head like a sticking carrot or something. It's just,
Can you say at least how they knew each other?
Through work, I guess that she had cleaned for him once or twice or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something. I really don't want to get too deep into it because I'm not trying to get that person involved because they've got enough problems.
But they didn't help you commit the crime. Did they come and
Well, he knew about the where she worked and stuff, and he explained to me, who that person was, and that he's got a lot of money and stuff. Basically, he put me in that direction. Right, wrong, or different, but.
Did he tell you to do what he did?
Well, yeah. I mean, he said, he said killing her
what you were going to do before you did it?
Yeah,
You did?
yeah.
How soon before?
Well, I would say probably on Monday, and then I did this on Wednesday.
Did you just communicate with him afterwards and tell him what you did?
No,
Have you seen him since?
no,
Haven't talked to him
no,
since?
no.
Would you at least say how you met him?
Well, I met him at a hotel that I was, I had stayed at when I first came to Orlando. When I first came to Orlando, I stayed at a hotel, and I met him. He was also staying at the hotel. When I first came there to Orlando, I rented a room for a little bit, but
Is he single or is he homeless or does he have a family?
yeah, he's a family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wife, kids? And it's just something you just don't want to,
Yeah, I just don't want to get, I don't want to, get the person involved. He has a good job, and he's a pretty decent person to me, and gave me a little bit of money and helped me and stuff, and I just don't want to get him involved in everything.
okay.
If that's okay. Rather just,
Yeah, and I can leave you a card, and if
yes,
you change your mind,
I will.
and,
I will.
and if,
No problem, I will protect it.
Is there anything else you have in this case?
no, I'm not right now. Is there anything else that we haven't asked you that is important that we know?
I'm trying to think quickly for you.
You don't have to think quickly. It could be a while. Take your time. It's okay. We're not in a rush.
Yeah. It's the damn shame everything had to happen.
I'm just going to ask you to sign that on the other side, and then I'll let you go on with, I know you wanted to ask a question about
Well,
something else.
thank you. I want to say thank you again for trusting me and reaching out to me. You've answered some questions, and that's you made your, this is your statement.
It is. It's truthful, and right, wrong, or indifferent. I just, I really would like to, right, wrong, or indifferent. I really would like the people of Winter Park to know that, they need to be a little more caring about other people that are less fortunate. Maybe things like this wouldn't happen. It's the world we live in.
Yeah, it is.
Everyone driving around those nice cars, believe me, the only time they give a sweet shit about anyone is when they have something for them. They don't care. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
They don't care. Die.
Yeah.
They'll send me off to prison the rest of my life and all this. Go ahead. They don't care. They don't care. Nobody cares about nothing. The only time they care, they're smiling, is when the other person got something for them.
We'll talk, all right? And,
all right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Appreciate your time,
Take care of yourself, and we will talk.
Yeah. So I tell them to.
I will.
See if they can help me with something. Food. Thank you. Food.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Yep.
Detective Ferrerra, did that conclude your contact with Mr. Nelson that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Nelson wrote you another letter in December of that same year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But you did not go meet with him again after this interview?
No, ma'am.
All right. I have no other questions of the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Your Honor, we have no questions.
Detective, you step down. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May we approach?
Yes. All right, deputies, if you could collect the transcripts, please. Thank you. Members of the jury, in just a moment, we're going to take a brief recess. During the recess, although the state has rested, you are still under all the court's instructions, including but not limited to the instruction not to discuss this case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. You're going to continue to leave your notepads and your pens on your seat. Please follow the deputy in the jury room. We'll bring you back as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Jurors exiting.
All right, we'll be in recess.